Why am I doing this? I just want to apply for the job. Why am I answering this? And these are not 10 questions. These are not just 10 questions. These might go on for 30, 40, 50 questions. You might be sitting there. I've definitely had those assessment tests take up to at least an hour or two, just because, you want to do it right, because if you're applying for a job that you want to get, you'll do it right, I believe. But I don't even think I need to look at my notes for this one, because let's just get into it. Job application insanity. Right? If you're unemployed, and if you're coming from my previous video with the layoffs video, this is kind of like an add-on to that. Let's talk about it, because where the new job market is kind of like, it's like dating. It's like dating. But I will say one thing, at least about Tinder or any of the dating websites, at least when you wanted to, let's just say it in this way, apply to see a girl, right, or to meet somebody, all you had to do was swipe right or left. But that's not how it works with a job application. Let's start off with the first piece of nonsense. You have to sign up. Every time you apply for a job, you got to sign up and make a new password, put your email in, make a new password. And I'm just here to drop off my information and leave. It's not like I'm coming here all the time, but you have to sign up. You have to do it. In my personal opinion, this is the least of my annoyances, because I honestly just use the same password. What's going to happen? Is someone going to hack my job application? What are you going to get out of it? Nothing. You're going to get the job for me. What does it matter? I use the same password for all of them, and maybe that's a huge risk. But the same password for all the job applications, they're all the same. But that's not the worst. Let's get into the real meat and potatoes. Having to retype everything on your resume. Isn't that fun? Oh, don't you just love, after you spend all that time making sure the ATS system can read it right, you have to basically take everything and repaste it into the system, or rewrite it in some cases. And there have been some pages that, here's the thing, some of them are so outdated. When you have to put in your experience, you have to say if you're currently working somewhere or how long you've worked somewhere. Some of these pages are so outdated, or they haven't been updated to a point that when you press the next button, you pretty much lose everything. You lose everything, because here's what happened. You didn't on one point say, oh, I'm not currently working here or not working here, right? The website, a modern website would tell you like, hey, you need to put this, you need to put this in. But no, you press the next button, and then it completely wipes out everything you did on that page. You have to re-enter it again, just because you just didn't press one setting. Super duper frustrating. Absolutely annoying as hell. And then the worst of it, some websites, what they'll do, they won't delete your stuff, but they'll jumble the information. Right? It'll reread your resume and then jumble the information in certain locations. So you'll have experience from one job all the way at the bottom, where it should be at the top, or the description for what you did at a job in another different section. Why? It's broken. It has to be absolutely broken in my understanding, right? So after you've spent, a good chunk of time having to rewrite all that stuff and put it in, you get to the standard like legal questions and everything. And I don't have any problems with that when they start asking you for like, okay, do you need a visa? Are you Hispanic? What race are you? And all that stuff. I mean, I know people have issues with that. I just want to apply and get it done, to be completely honest. Or the parts where it's only like a couple of megabytes that you have, so you have to go and compress your resume or your portfolio or your cover letter. You have to compress it down just so it can fit within the computer. That's the least of my concern. Let's get to the worst one of them all. The absolute I note these down whenever I'm applying for jobs, like in a spreadsheet. It's like the king of making job applications terrible. The assessment tests you have to take after. Now, you've definitely done this. If you've applied for a couple of jobs, you've definitely had to take an assessment test. And some of these tests are just absolutely ridiculous or asininely insane, right? It's either you take a test where they're asking questions, where they ask questions where you need a lot of context to understand if you're answering the question properly. Now, if they ask a question like, okay, if you see an employee stealing, what does it want you to say? It wants you to say, yes, I'm going to report it to my manager. But obviously, you're probably not going to snitch to you're not going to probably snitch on the homie. But you have to tell the computer what it wants to hear, obviously. And the thing is, these questions are like, so they'll ask a question like this. Say your manager has you working on a certain project, and then another manager from another department comes and says, hey, I need you to help me on this project today, right? And then it gives you a couple of answers where you can suss out like at least one or two you can tell are like, they're obviously the wrong answer, but sometimes there's three answers that make all sense. They make a bunch of sense. And it comes down to it's like, I need more context. How do I not know, like, how do I not know one of the managers is just chill and I can tell them like, hey, I need to help this guy out or something, or the other manager's just a hothead and he's just like, I need you to work on this right now or it's going to affect your employment, right? You need context, but there's three questions on there that seem like right answers. So it almost seems like if you want the job, you have to know the right answer from somebody in the company. Like if they say like, okay, we want you for the company, we want to hire you, but they're going to like give you a cheat sheet because it's like, they'll probably say like, okay, that test is meant to weed out people who we don't even want, or we're not even going to look at their resume, honestly. So it honestly feels like you have to have that cheat sheet. And I actually had this one time answer. It wasn't even an assessment test. It was just looking at shapes. What? So the question was kind of formatted like this. It was like, okay, what shape do you choose looking at this image? There's an image of a couple of shapes in a certain pattern, and then you say what shape or pattern fits this image or something like that. And it's not like a, okay, fit the block in a certain square kind of thing, like a child's thing. I think it's some kind of psychology test or like which shape you're choosing. Why am I doing this? I just want to apply for the job. Why am I answering this? And these are not 10 questions. These are not just 10 questions. These might go on for 30, 40, 50 questions. You might be sitting there. I definitely had those assessment tests take up to at least an hour or two, just because, you want to do it right, because if you're applying for a job that you want to get, you'll do it right, I believe. But sometimes I'll get to like, or maybe I'll contradict on that. I'll just be like at the end of the thing, and I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to answer the questions. They're going to throw my application in the trash anyway. And that's the big thing. You're doing all of this work. You could literally be applying for the job for like, I don't know, 2-3 hours, right? Just trying to make sure it's right, whether you're tailoring your resume and everything, or just making sure the information you put in is proper and correct, and added in all the skills, and making sure the assessment test is correct. You're doing all this. And the funny thing, I got mosquitoes here, but the funny thing is, it only takes them 2 seconds to reject you. It only takes, and not even you, it's probably just an AI. I've even heard people on radio stations or something like that, some boomer radio stations, say like, don't use AI, it's easy to spot. It's like, bro, most people don't even read cover letters. They don't even read it. It's like, oh, well, we want you to sound like the real you. And it's just like, bro, I'm not a poet. I'm not like, what am I signing up for? I'm not going for a communications job. So, and you're going to use AI to judge my application anyway. So why can't I use it? What? Right? They want us to spend all this time applying for jobs, knowing that we have to apply for multiple of jobs, and they want us to spend so much time on their applications. It's like, it's so ridiculous. The amount of time you put in, minus the time that they're going to give you back, and you get the dreaded unfortunately we have to move on with another candidate. Unfortunately, you were not selected for this position. Sorry, but you can keep an eye out. You can keep an eye out and look at what we have on the portal or whatever. It's like, yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah, great. So all the time that you invest in it, like I could be like I thought about it in a sense. I was like, I could be out making a YouTube video and spending time on that. That would be more valuable for me to make for myself than for me to apply for this job, right? And maybe I'll even add another tangent. Like in my field, you have to put in a portfolio for certain things. There's no guaranteed if you do a project for that company, there's no guarantee that they're going to acknowledge it. You could do a whole big old project for the company and they can just be like, don't care. We were going to hire the boss's nephew anyway. So yeah, the application process is just straight cancer. I can't stand it. I would honestly prefer if someone's out there and they can develop an app where you can apply for jobs just literally by swiping on your phone, like Tinder. Seriously. I think that would be a great invention, because then I wouldn't have to spend so much time applying for a job, because the system we have is so archaic and so annoying, honestly. But that's my thoughts on it. Let me know your guys' experience. Let me know the insanity of having to apply for a job, or the things that you've gone through on websites. Oh, one thing I forgot to add. I've actually had jobs ask for social security numbers. I said, I'm not giving you my social security number, period, if you haven't even given me an offer. What the hell do you think this is? Seriously? You're asking for my social security number. And I don't even have an offer? Seriously? Really? You know how many scams there are? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But guys, share your experiences in the job market. Share your thoughts on how things are going, because boy, I'd rather be out here in nature. Just giving my thoughts and thinking about things other than applying for a job, for Christ's sake. Yeah. So leave your comments below. Tell me what you guys think, and cheers.